just wrapped up Towers and Gods episode 13, and it was a crazy finale. If you haven't checked it out, I recommend doing so. I'll put the link down below. The age-old question is upon us. At long last, I kind of can't believe I haven't made a video on this topic already. Is Ghost really V from Tower of God? We have a lot of clues that may suggest so, but a lot of evidence that also just makes it seem like it could be a crazy coincidence. Or even not that, I just think a lot of people want V to be a part of the story, so they look at someone like Ghost, who is a very mysterious figure, we don't know his identity, and we assume he could very well be V. So first things first, let's get clear who these characters are. Obviously, V is Bomb's father, someone who apparently killed himself a long time ago, and then Arlen was distraught and blah blah blah. A lot of fans, including myself, speculate that it didn't exactly go down like Arlen said. Either V didn't kill himself, or maybe he did kill himself but the circumstances were different, or maybe he was killed, maybe Arlen is involved somehow. Like, it just seems odd. The entire situation with V doesn't really make a lot of sense. Obviously, he's one of the 13 great warriors, so by extension, he's an irregular. Now, Ghost, on the other hand, is a mysterious creature that was sent by Hedon to protect Rachel in season 1. He's there, he's always there with her, and Dorsey, when she sees Rachel for the first time, she teams up with Rachel and Ghost. He's there in the Crown game protecting Rachel, and he disappears after season 1 until he shows up in season 3 completely out of the blue to fight Bomb. And that's basically all we know about him. Now, Ghost is his line translation name, but he's also known by the name Arkyung. Arkyung is the name he used to go by in the older translation, and that translates to evil spirit in Korean. What I find interesting about this is that both of these names, either one, evil spirit or ghost, could apply to V, someone who is thought to be dead, but maybe he's returned as some kind of abomination. Ghost is a weird character because he sort of appeared out of the blue in season 1 and was never seen again. So a lot of people ended up just thinking, well, he's probably not that big of a deal. There was a scene with Han Sung even talking about Ghost and Rachel, and so it's like Han Sung is in on this as well, like what's going on? Obviously he's a part of this master plan with Fug and Hedon somehow. He has connections to Hedon and Fug. I mean, he has to, right? Like Han Sung was talking about Ghost, Hedon is the one who sent Ghost. Hedon must have some plot that he's not revealing to us obviously yet in the story, but it has to be connected. He's connected to both parties. And we know that V was also connected to Fug, obviously being the founder of Fug alongside Luzlak. Obviously Fug wasn't always called Fug, but V is essentially the entire reason Fug exists. So the fact that Ghost exists so early on in the story already tells us that he has some kind of importance. He's not just a random character, and him showing up in season 3 made all the fans be like, whoa, okay, this character actually matters a lot, obviously, because SIU brought him back. Okay, so we know he's important, we know his connection to Hedon and Fug in some way, but what about his appearance? Now you could say, okay, well, Ghost looks nothing like V. There's obviously, how could you compare these two characters? Well, for one thing, we only know a little bit about V's appearance, from what we've seen in the Floor of Death. I'm not saying he looks like some crazy monster, but also, when we see those panels, panels that sort of describe the past, I don't know if it necessarily is always accurate. We saw a panel of Lopobia Traumarai a long time ago, and although we only have seen a shadow of the current Traumarai, it looks nothing like him. That's kind of a bad argument though. If we're assuming the panels are correct, it doesn't even matter, right? You could make that argument like I just did and say, well, we don't know. It doesn't matter. Obviously something happened to V, if he really is Ghost, to make him look that way. But he could have retained a couple of his old characteristics as a regular human being. For example, if we trust those old panels, we know that V has black hair and Arkyung has black hair. He has hair, it straight up looks like hair unless it's some kind of I don't know, adornment or ornament or whatever you want to call it. But from my perspective, it looks like hair, and it's black, just like V's hair. Bomb's hair color is more matched to his mother, who has that brownish hair. Not that that matters too much to this conversation, but I mean, they both have black hair. And also, we know that when Bomb was fighting Ghost, he specifically pointed out his eyes. He said he has human eyes. We'd never seen Ghost's eyes before this point, but that not only proves that Ghost has some kind of human connection, Bomb used the word human, but also his human eyes were yellow. Now, it's highly possible that Bam got his golden eyes, quote unquote, from his mother Arlen, just like his hair color. I don't know if it's been confirmed which one he got his eye color from. You can, I tried checking in the comic because Jahad actually points out, those eyes, I thought I killed you. But that doesn't necessarily say which parent he got his eyes from. But if he got his hair color from his mother, I mean, he could have gotten his eye color from his father. And that would mean that V had golden eyes. Bam has golden eyes, and Ghost has golden eyes, and then maybe V had golden eyes. Now, the color is a little bit different, right? It's a very yellowish gold, but still, I think it's still worth pointing out. Also, when Bam is fighting Ghost, he specifically also points out that the way that Arc-Young is fighting, the way that Ghost is performing his techniques and everything, he says it's just like the demon within me. I don't know if that's like a real connection there, because the demon inside Bam isn't necessarily biological, right? But still worth pointing out that Bam felt some kind of connection with this guy. But the biggest piece of evidence, the one that I've saved because I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, the main reason that anyone would even bring up this theory is that Ghost used the Shinsu Black Hole Sphere, Shinwan Ryu. He used that, and the God of Guardians specifically made it clear that only Irregulars, right, like the 10 family heads, Uric, etc., they're the only ones who can use Shinsu Black Hole Sphere. So does that mean Ghost is an Irregular? Well, it'd be strange because we haven't heard of another Irregular entering the tower aside from Enryu, Uric, Pentaminum, Bam, Rachel, and, the family heads, of course, and everyone associated with that whole thing, right? So it'd be strange if it was like, oh, Ghost is also an Irregular, like, wow. It just doesn't really add up that much, right? So either he's not an Irregular who is using the Shinsu Black Hole Sphere, or maybe he's someone we already know who is an Irregular, like V. Now, there is one caveat with this that I do think is totally fair. We actually have seen someone use the Shinsu Black Hole Sphere who is not an Irregular. That being the God of Guardians, the one who taught Bam the Shinsu Black Hole Sphere. Now, yes, he's like a creation of the Hell Train / the workshop, so it's like, okay, he's a special case, but that still proves you don't have to be an Irregular to use this. What if Ghost is also a creation of the workshop or some kind of, artificial being, right? And that means he can use the Shinsu Black Hole Sphere. The fact that the God of Guardians used it means that maybe there is some kind of exception there. So while yes, it is strange, and Bam even comments on this, like, how in the heck is this guy using Shinwan Ryu, it still doesn't necessarily prove that he is 100% an Irregular. Also, at the end of the fight, Ghost talks to Bam about, like, you've gotten much stronger, so he's been, like, watching Bam, which I guess makes sense, he saw him in Season 1, but you'll need to get stronger if you want to fight Jahad. We know Ghost is connected in some way to Fug, but it still seems strange to me that he's like commenting on taking down Jahad. Like, where's that coming from, right? I don't know, it just seems a little bit out of place, but maybe he's telling Bam this because we know Arlen's entire purpose of reviving Bam and giving him up to the outside god and everything is so he could take down Jahad. So maybe his father also has that same desire, the one who basically killed everything that he cared about and ruined his life, Jahad, the man who wanted to marry his wife. Maybe he's telling Bam this to give him that encouragement and that push. Maybe he also desires the same thing that his wife wants. Just combined with the fact that V's death circumstances are so weird, it's like, oh no, my son died and my wife is crying and she's so distraught and, all my friends are fighting for us. I'm just gonna kill myself and say, sorry, wife. It's like, obviously it can happen. I'm not saying it can't. Like, obviously those were terrible circumstances, but the way it was described was so out of place. It was like, oh, and he killed himself. And it was like, okay, there has to be something else here, right? So overall, I think there's a lot of evidence that suggests that Ghost has some kind of connection to Bam, or some kind of connection to being an Irregular, or something of that nature. I don't think it necessarily proves that he's V, though. I think a lot of this could be seen as coincidence. If I had to place, like, chances on it, I would say maybe a 20% chance that he's V. That's pretty good, though, for a theory, especially a crazy theory like this. But overall, let me know if I missed something, because there's a lot going on with the lore of these characters. So let me know in the comments down below if I missed something that you think is interesting to add. And don't forget to check out Towers and Gods. It is my favorite thing here on the channel, as I've said many times before. And we're entering an entirely new arc. This is the time if you want to hop on and join the series and watch what we're doing. This is the best time. So join us for the adventure. The link is down below. Huge shout out to my patrons as always. You guys are awesome. And with that being said, I will see you in my next Tower of God theory video. Take care.